Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, the Ohio Patriot, and for today's episode, we're going to talk about a young black female, probably mid-20s, who admitted that most black people that are currently on EBT/food stamp/government benefits are literally committing welfare fraud and are embezzling the shit and then reselling them so they can go buy drugs and other stuff. It is what it is. So if that doesn't piss you off, you're not paying attention. I was watching I was checking the X count the other day, is what it was, and I would have done this from about an hour ago, give or take, but then I thought Hunter was going to go live tonight. He didn't, obviously. But yeah, so basically you had the feed come through, there's what it was, and it was talking about that stuff. And I know the other day I saw something in my feed as well there where it was talking about how something like 12.3 or 12.4% of the population is currently on like some kind of government assistance is what it is, usually like food stamps/SNAP is what it is there. There's no way that many people need it, dude. There's like 40 million people or something like that would need it. And it makes sense now looking at this that obviously you're going to have probably several million that are, committing this kind of crime is what it is. And yeah, it needs to be lifetime benefits ban. It needs to be them going to jail for welfare fraud, etc. And we just need a whole overhaul of the system is what it is right now. So we're also going to talk about Trump showing the mugshots of DC criminals. It's exactly what he thought it was, a bunch of YNs. And then, of course, you got a bunch of black supremacists for the Black Wall Street Times. I didn't even know it was a site, but apparently I guess it is. We're bitching and moaning and trying to claim racism instead of actually just taking accountability for their shitty communities, what it is there. So, we got a couple other stories to discuss too, but we'll go over the main one here, which is pull this up real quick. Which is this girl right here talking about the food stamp system. And this is Wall Street saying, American says the secret about EBT food stamps is being kept quiet. Woman says people are really outraged about food stamps because they've been selling them, and that's how they, quote, normally buy weed, wigs, bundles of drugs, get their nails done, etc. And you don't say I'm lying because when y'all were receiving food stamps, you were selling the food stamps. You weren't worried about feeding your children. Says the real reason so many people are outraged with the food stamp changes is because of that. Yeah, it makes sense, honestly. I don't know if that means she was committing welfare fraud there or not, or she was just calling out the others that are. I mean, she might have been doing both, honestly, even for that matter. But yeah, we need a full investigation on this kind of stuff, dude, because it's absolutely ridiculous when you have people like myself who actually do need a handout, who actually do need a hand up, being permanently disabled and stuff like that. Like, I'm getting the bare minimum here in Ohio you can get when it comes to that, and it's not even covering a month's worth of food is what it is. I'm gonna have to probably go to food banks pretty soon just to afford the rest of my food is what it'll be then. So, and I've been fighting fucking stupid ass government now for months when it comes to getting my full disability check now is what it is. And yet these fucking cocksuckers are getting $3,000, $4,000 a month in fucking EBT and stuff, and like SNAP benefits, and like cash assistance and shit. It's like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, how are you pulling that shit off, dude? So yeah, it boils my fucking blood, honestly, dude. And I think a lot of this honestly could have been fixed about a decade ago, because I know it was somewhere between like 15 and 18 years ago here in Ohio is when they did a change where it was, if you were considered a able-bodied male, you basically got 90 days worth of stuff out of 3 years, and then you got cut off if you weren't willing to work for your benefits. Is what it was there. And I think that's the problem with women now is what it is that you have so many of these women, even if they're not frauding the system or whatever the case be, they are 100% able to go out there. And in many cases, I would even go further than what that chick said about them using it, like selling the food stamps to buy drugs and stuff like that. Because not only they're doing that, they're also making the content of them going out and buying the stuff to make videos for TikTok or whatever the case be. They're definitely making money on that content is what it is. And that right there is a job. So you're actually committing welfare fraud that way is what it is. And the fact that we're letting this go on is absolutely fucking ridiculous what it is, dude. When you have people out here legitimately that need this stuff, people like myself, people like Corey, etc., that, you know, like we're struggling, man. And yet these fucking entitled pieces of shit are getting this for, you know, years or decades of their lives. Like, what the fuck, dude? And like I said, I think easily can be fixed by you forcing a clause now, here in 2025, able-bodied females must work for benefits to get cut off the same way dudes were after 3 months. And I would even go further than that and say, if you are a woman who potentially is so-called disabled or whatever the case be, but yet you then have children on the system as what it is or whatever, then you definitely get cut off for sure. Because it should not be government taxpayers paying for your kids to be born and stuff like that and be, you know, given a fucking handout and like food to eat, etc. There's what it is. So I talked to my mom about this many years ago. Actually, I said one of the things that could actually fix a lot of this if we did. This was back in like probably like 2007-ish, 8-ish, 9 or somewhere in there. I think it was right around the time Obama was getting into office. And it was downtown Canton. There, it looked similar to what it looks like now, actually, except it's more dilapidated now. Another, 15 years, 16, 17 years later, whatever it is now. But the whole point is that we could have easily had, like community gardens and stuff like that, where you're growing like fresh produce and fruits and stuff out there in these old lots and whatnot. Like you just put up like literally like gardening boxes is what it is there. And you just grow a bunch of produce that way is what it is. And the people that are, putting in on it are the ones that get out of it is what it is. And then I realized after the fact, I'm like, yeah, that wouldn't work because too many people don't want to work is what it is. They don't want to work. They don't want to do anything is what it is. They want to take there. They just want to sit there and take and never give back is what it is. And that's why I kind of almost say, like, fuck them, let them starve at this point, honestly. Because, like, what's the point of, you're just basically being taken advantage of. Like, why are we being taken advantage of? Just cut them the fuck off for life. If they want to riot, let them fucking riot and deal with the fucking issue at the hand. At that point, is what it is then. It's not like these pieces of shit don't come out in droves and fucking burn down cities 5-6 years ago now. And are still doing this every fucking time. It's like, oh my god, some fucking cop killed some fucking black dude or whatever it is. Even though it was all bullshit in most cases. Like, they're just looking for a reason to, and a lot of them are looking for a reason to steal is what it is, dude. It's fucking ghetto Christmas from or something is there. And I, for one, I'm sick and tired of all of it is what it is, man. So, it's like the same thing there in D.C., which is what we're going to talk about next right here. Which is Trump doing the mugshots of these idiots. And then you got these fucking clown asses at the Black Wall Street Times saying this is their headline. White House posts black mugshots on social media. It's racism. Less than a day into DC takeover, the White House revives the criminal black male stereotype. How is it a stereotype if they're the ones committing the crime, you dumb motherfuckers? Like, Jesus Christ, dude. Oh my god. They have no argument, dude. That's why they'll always try to play the race card is what it is. They have no real argument against the stuff. And they just don't want to take accountability for their criminalized communities, what it is there, dude. And it's sad, like, if these communities were actually willing to talk to the police, arrest the criminals out of their community, and take back their community, we're willing to actually have people that want to step up and actually lead the communities there, they could do so much better. You could have like a good area. You could have good areas in this country all over the places what it is. But they don't want to do that. They just want to sit there and be like, oh, it's not my problem, it's somebody else's problem. It's like, no, it actually is your problem in most cases because you're not dealing with the problem at hand is what it is. And then you wonder if people like me get pissed off about it because inevitably what it leads to. It leads to black and white hate crimes, it leads to black and Asian hate crimes, it leads to black on Latino hate crimes, it leads to Latino on black crimes, etc. And eventually I believe it will lead to a race war in this country. If not like tribalistic warfare for sure. Because I've broken that down on this channel for years now, actually, about how, eventually give it enough time, if everybody starts tribalizing and stuff like that, you will have a tribalistic warfare as a second civil war in this country. Like, mark my words, it's going to happen. It just depends on exactly when it's going to happen is what it is. I think the reason it hasn't happened is because you have people like your Donald Trumps, like your various individuals similar to that are willing to, kind of kick the can down the road a little bit, or in this case, actually deal with some of the problem at hand is what it is. And that's also one thing that does piss me off about when it comes to Vivek Ramaswamy and Bernie Moreno here from Ohio, who's a U.S. Senator, obviously, Moreno is, and then Vivek running for governor and stuff, is that we saw what Cincinnati was. It was a black and white hate crime, 100% across the board. Nobody will call it that, even the ones that are in power right now. And especially if you're, like, that's the thing. If you're running for governor, man, have some goddamn balls to call the shit out what the fuck it is, dude. Because if you're not willing to do that, then get the fuck out of the race and give the money that you've already had come to you and donate that to someone else's campaign that's actually going to deal with this shit fucking head on is what it is. Because it's not like this is like the first time the shit has happened, dude. The Cincinnati things are going on for over a year now. You literally had black supremacists like 6-8 months ago in one of these shithead neighborhoods there committing ethnic intimidation crimes against white drivers and weren't arrested for that shit. Like, this is the problem. It's the escalation of this crap that nobody wants to take seriously and realize that we have one common fucking factor in this country right now that is the problem, and it's literally fucking YNs. End of story. So, like, honestly, I think one of the best solutions we could do at this point would be just bring back the 94 crime bill and redo it a little bit is what it is, like, tweak it a little bit so it's not like, like, considered, like, quote-unquote racist or whatever, like it was under Biden's administration, or Biden's old Senate time period there is what it was. But yeah, what we need to have is mandatory minimums is what it is, dude, because especially when you have judges, like there's another one I saw earlier here, I'm going to pull up real quick, so I can get Discord here that I posted it in. You literally have judges in places like Texas who have actual laws on the books right now to where if somebody is convicted of certain violent crimes, they cannot be let out. They must be charged, like, basically with a mandatory minimum is what it is there. But then you have fucking piece of shit activist judges who are literally letting these violent criminals walk free. And sometimes it's a black judge, sometimes it's a Latino judge, but they're usually females, actually, is what I've figured out. Like, I would say about 80% of the time, honestly. So, but yeah, you got, oh wait, no, that was a different story we're talking about. Let's see, where's that one that came? Something? There's a different one. No, I'm sorry, it's not up on my thing yet. Okay. Yeah, I got it up here. Yeah, it was Houston judge breaks Texas law to grant bond to violent career criminal. This is the bitch right here that was supposed to be the judge. This is the idiot that she let out of fucking prison with this big old neck tattoo. And then it was, I believe, some Republican state senator or something like that. That was the guy that was in the hat talking about the stuff. But yeah, it's like, how hard is it to disbar these people and arrest them, dude, out of office? Like, that's the problem right now, is that we need to seriously disbar these fucking judges. We need to impeach their asses. We need to put them in prison as accessories to these fucking crimes that these criminals are doing is what it is. They're going to try and pull that crap and put our fucking foot down once and for all is what it is. So it's time for men to take back this country, honestly, is what needs to happen. So letting a bunch of fucking dumb, retarded cunts fucking take care of it is what it is there. Speaking of dumb, retarded cunts, which brings me to my next story here. That was the one I was pulling up a minute ago there, which was the D.C. police chief. Like, what a fucking joke, dude. How DEI happens. D.C. Mayor Muriel Bowser nominated Pamela Smith as D.C. police chief. D.C. City Council unanimously confirmed Pamela Smith as D.C. police chief. D.C. police chief Pamela Smith does not know what the term chain of command means. Yeah, this moronic bitch right here literally came out today because of Trump federalizing the DC stuff there is what it was. And it was some reporter guy asking her, he's like, okay, so what's a chain of command now? And she's like, what's a chain of command? how are you qualified for anything, bitch, including being in any kind of fucking position of power when it comes to having a badge? Like, Jesus fucking Christ. And when you look at actually what DEI practice and stuff like that is, dude, it's literally you'll have people be dumb enough to put like a mayor into place, like a Tiffany Henyard type or whatever the case be. And then the Tiffany Henyard type will sit there and hire like 15 other minorities to just do stuff. And that's how you get the DEI bullshit. And that's how you also get embezzlement and other kinds of RICO Act crimes like that. So it's just absolute insanity is what it is, man. And I'm personally just fucking done with all of it, man. So and I'm gonna start calling out for what it is at this point. I don't give a fuck how it sounds, because it's the truth at this point, honestly, dude. And then finally we got this one from Vigilant Fox earlier tonight, which was about that Scott Jennings guy calling out people in real time. What it was his mail on 2 Democrat narratives in real time. Scott Jennings dropped a bombshell about witnessing a murder in Union Station, obliterating the idea that DC is safe. But when an unhinged panelist denied Trump's peace efforts, he sent her into a tailspin with one line: "What reality do you live in?" She completely lost it on live TV. So if y'all want to watch it, it's on there. It's right here is what it is. This whole thing right here is what it is. I'm guessing it was this shit right here. So I'm not going to play it, though, because I know I'm like 90% sure that would be copyrighted stuff is what it is. So I don't need to get a strike on this channel for any reason. So don't give me a strike, YouTube. I didn't play anything. I just showed the link to where it was there. So, but yeah, it's some crazy shit, dude. And, like I said, honestly, I think the 2 biggest problems America has right now are black criminals and Islamic terrorism. And maybe not quite in that order. But, like, I think if we dealt with both of those things in, like, one fell swoop and just started booting people out of this country and, like, legitimately exiling them for life is what it is, we would be so much better off with the nation currently is what it is, dude. So we'd also get rid of a lot of the welfare fraud, too, for that matter, because when you look at the Somalis that are there in Minnesota, not only did they do PPP loan theft about 5-6 years ago now during lockdowns, they also, a lot of them are now being busted for other kinds of various fraud and stuff like that through the welfare systems and things like that, and setting up like fake charities and stuff like that to embezzle a bunch of cash that way is what it is. So, yeah, like it's time to deal with this shit once and for all, dude. And not to mention the fact that, like, truthfully, none of these Somali people, whether it be there in Minnesota or here in Ohio, have legal right to even be in this country at all, because most of them, if not all of them, committed immigration fraud to even get in this country, the same way that bitch Ilhan Omar did. And how the fuck she's even in power at all is because of that district being flooded with all these fucking Somalis. So it is that became her voter block because they were given citizenship out of some bullshit retardation means, basically, which they shouldn't have been given citizenship in the first place. Is what it is there. So, but yeah, I'm just so fucking over all of it, dude. What it is. Some my neck crack just came through there. That's probably when my neck cracks the way it does because I'm so stressed all the time. I don't know. Maybe I need to talk to my buddy Joe that used to be the constitutionalist guy that got me into being a constitutionalist and see if he's... I know he's on like a weird like shaman path now is what it is, and see if he's willing to like do me up a session or something like that of just like some healing stuff or whatever. So he does like the bowl healing and stuff like that's what it is there, and I think maybe that's what I need, just like realign my energy or something like that and get like the anger out of my system or something like that, what it is there. So who knows? But I think it's justifiable anger at this point for the most part, just because it's like when you see the problem and you're willing to call out the problem and nobody else is, like the people that are not willing to call it out are the ones that are helping facilitate this shit is what it is. And I don't care if you're Republican or Democrat, dude. Like, if you're not willing to call this shit out for what it actually is, you're part of the problem at that point, because you are actively enabling this shit to continue on by not removing the fucking people from power that are continuing to let it happen for years now is what it is. And that's my biggest problem when it comes to Bernie Moreno being a U.S. Senator right now, is because he could have easily cut federal funding to Cincinnati, Ohio, and forced the hand of these Democrats. Instead, he's like, no, I'm willing to basically suck them off behind closed doors and fucking make some bullshit deal with them. No, fuck that, dude. Kick them the fuck out of office. Make sure that they are arrested on federal charges at that point as accessories to all these crimes. And we start fresh with a whole new mayor, city council, police chief, etc. there. And maybe then we'll finally get shit done is what it is. And I would say the same thing with Justin Bibb up there in Cleveland. Like, kick his fucking ass out of office. Kick everybody else out of office up there, like Stephanie House, etc. They're all a bunch of black supremacists. Replace them with people that actually give a fuck about the state in this country. And we fix these major cities once and for all, dude. Either that or you just wall them off and let them fucking become escape from LA is what it is then. Like, either one will work at this point, honestly. So, like I said, I'm just fucking over all of it right now is what it is, dude. And I'm getting real sick and tired of it not being dealt with the way it needs to be dealt with, or even worded the way it needs to be worded is what it is. Because of people playing semantics and just being like, oh, the crime spikes. It's like, no, dude, call it what it is. It's the black criminal crime spikes in this country that are taking over like they did fucking 30-something years ago is what it is. And just like it did 30 years ago, we need to enact legislation and laws to fucking deal with it accordingly is what it is. Whether that be a new version of the 94 crime bill, whether that be something else. And it's not like I'm the only one saying this stuff, dude. Like, I didn't even think about that stuff at all. It was that dude, AK Nation News, that was the first person I heard talking about it. And that's some older black guy that used to be a criminal himself is what it is. Where he was talking about like a year or two ago. He's like, we need to enact the 94 crime bill again. But for him, it was basically just do it the way it used to be. For me, I'm like, no, let's update it. Let's tweak it a little bit. Let's make it better. And then, you know, just put mandatory minimums in there and stuff what it is then. Because the real problem with Biden's version of 94 was you had dudes that were arrested for like a baggie of weed, and they got like 30 years in prison for that, which is absolutely ridiculous. Maybe that should have been like 6 months or a year at most. And the difference is, though, if you're a hardcore violent criminal that's done, you know, you have like a laundry list of fucking shit on your record already, like you're either in the jail the rest of your life or you're at a fucking firing squad for the death penalty is what it is then. Because that's the way this stuff needs to be treated, honestly, dude. And we honestly should have a nationwide death penalty firing squad is what it is there at a federal level. And the fact that we don't is absolutely ridiculous because it would be the cheapest means of any kind of death penalty in this country. We're not wasting millions and millions of dollars to do that stuff. It would also be the easiest one to do because you wouldn't be then wasting 20, 30, 40 years on some of these people's appeals that are obviously guilty as fuck. And then people, you know, in the 2060s or whatever are like, no, this person, you know, redeemed themselves and served their time. No, they fucking didn't, dude. They killed a bunch of fucking kids in the 2020s. They need to fucking die in the 2020s is what it is. And it's that simple, really, legitimately. You know, I can think of at least 5 people here in Ohio that are kid killers right now that are sitting in prison here in the state level. And they should be dead in the fucking ground right now is what it is from a firing squad. You want to live as a criminal by the gun, you need to die as a criminal by the gun is what it is. End of story. So, you want to kill a toddler like Ace Lucas? You want to kill a toddler like Ronan Sweeney? Fuck you. You're done, dude. I guess technically Ronan might be just outside that toddler age. I think he was like 4 when he was killed, but still. Ace was only 18 months, dude. Like, it's fucking disgusting is what it is. And I know in the Ronan Sweeney's case, you got one of these pieces of shit that was like the getaway driver or whatever, is now trying to claim he shouldn't be charged with felony murder, even though he totally should be, because he was one of the guys that actually, besides being a getaway driver, ran in with everybody else to the fucking house, while the other dude put a bullet in Ronan's head is what it was. So, it's just absolutely sickening is what it is, man. And then, of course, Democrats will claim that there's not this giant crime wave in these cities because what do? They either, A, charge someone who's obviously black or Latino or whatever the case be as a white person, or they'll just drop the charges entirely in most cases to like these violent ass crimes and be like, oh no, there's not like this violent crime wave of people just beating the fuck out of people. It's like, yes, there is, dude. It's just like the actual Justice Warrior guy said like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago now is what it was, where he was talking about, I believe it was New York City, where it was I think he said it was like 3.4, 3.5 million people live in that area there of Manhattan and stuff like that. And the retail theft was being done by less than 1,000 people. It was like 750 something people is what it was there. And if they just kept those 750 something people locked up, you would have almost no retail theft at all in that city is what it is. And that's what I'm saying, dude. It's not even like 1% of people. It's like a fraction of a percent, just like it is with like the trans stuff is what it is there. It's like people make these criminals make a fraction of a percent is what it is, but we're not keeping that fraction of a percent locked up on the charges they should be locked up on. Then they're just going to keep repeat offending is what it is. So you need to have law and order is what it is, man. If you're not willing to have law and order and call it out for what it is, then what the fuck are you doing in politics? What the fuck are you doing in position of power is what it is. Like, move aside and let somebody else take over that position that's actually going to do their job is what it is then. And like I said, I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever the fuck you are at that point. Like, if you're in power and you're not taking care of the problem and you're acting like the problem does not exist, then you, yourself, don't ever be in power again in this country is what it is. And you need to be charged as an accessory before, during, and after the fact of these criminals' crime sprees is what it is then. And it's that fucking simple, honestly. So, on that note, I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. It's almost midnight. I got stuff I still got to do before I go to sleep, and I'm fucking exhausted right now. So, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Hopefully my audio came through okay. And then I don't know what it is. I put like a different jack into this toner mic that I got from the other ones, what it was. And like every time I touch it, it seems like it almost like pulls out of my thing like a little bit is what it is there. So that sometimes my audio go dead, like just randomly. It's because it's getting pulled out of the thing or something. There, what it is. It's really weird. So, but anyway, I think my battery in my laptop might be going now, so I'm either gonna have to get a new battery installed somehow at some point in the future. Which I don't know how that's gonna work, because now you have to like unscrew the whole thing and do stuff like that. Maybe get my brother to do it or something like that, or maybe just buy a whole new laptop if that be the case and get like the cheapest one possible or something. But I don't know. I don't know if I can afford that right now, because they're not cheap. They're like, I think the cheapest one I could find would be at least like probably $400 to $500 or something like that, which is almost a month's rent at this point. So, or at least half. Well, depending, was like $400 would be about just over half a month's rent at that point. Well, if I include utilities and stuff like that, probably about a month's rent, give or take. Maybe just under it, actually. But yeah, it's like, and that's another thing, like not getting my, like, and I think a lot of what my stress is right now is them not, fucking disability people not calling me back and telling me, hey, we're going to, you know, finally give you your full check now, and the back pay that we fucked you out on for the last few months now is what it is. From the other ones, because these bastards still owe me, like, essentially, like 2 months worth of rent of just the money they took out of the shit for the last 4 months I've been living here, and then whatever else now. And I think they still haven't gotten me my full back pay ever for the other stuff then. So I need to look into that one of these days soon and figure that out and make sure I got my full check there is what it is. So, because it's becoming a struggle right now. I'm getting to the point where I'm probably going to start selling like almost everything. And it's not good, man. I mean, thankfully I have stuff I potentially could sell, but like even so, I don't really want to come to that as what it is, but I don't have to do that. Especially not having to take a loss on things just to, like, you know, be able to afford rent for a few months is what it is or something. And I think that's another thing that just pisses me off so much about, you know, all these fucking shitless layabouts that are, you know, obviously defrauding their system is what it is, when people like me are actually over here, you know, legitimately struggling, and these fuckers are selling the shit to go buy fucking drugs and stuff. So they can then resell the drugs is what it is, because they're a bunch of fucking scumbag ass criminals what it is there. So, I don't know. I'm just fucking over all of it, dude, for real. And I think most other Americans are too at this point. I don't know what the solution totally is, but like I said, I've given several in this episode so far. So if those are actually taken into account by any person in politics right now that is in a position of power to do something about it, like you could probably fix the system pretty easily. Like that's what it is. On that note, I'm going to go ahead and, like I said, call this one, and I'm going to go. I'm getting hungry again. I ate about 6 hours ago now. I had what was dinner at the time, but it really wasn't dinner. It was like basically like a late lunch, really, is what it was, at like 5:30. And the pork chops were pretty good that I got the other day. I made them in the air fryer last night, or not last night, earlier tonight is what it was. And they came out pretty good. It was about 15 minutes or so at 400 degrees. So I'm gonna go make a big salad out of the head of lettuce I chopped up yesterday because I want to make sure I eat that before it goes bad, is what it is. So no reason to let that go bad. But yeah, that first salad I had of that was pretty tasty, and I'm gonna go try and make another one that's a similar flavor to it, if that be the case then. So that way I can actually have a good meal in my belly then before bed. I think the salad actually helped me out over yonder. You guys know what I mean by that one. When I point towards my bathroom is what it is. So I think I finally get my gut health back into a good alignment with that stuff, and I definitely want to start eating better is what it is, because I know I've gained. I need to stop eating processed food completely is what it is. Getting pretty close to stop eating it completely is what it is then, because if I can start eating like a lot of fresher stuff then on a regular basis, I definitely could lose a lot more weight. I know I've gained about probably 25 to 35 pounds in the past like 40-ish days, 50-ish days, something like that, just from eating processed stuff at this place for like the last couple months and whatnot. So I think I honestly just need to get like a notebook out and just start doing like a meal prep or something like that, and just figuring out like really I just need all these boxes that are still on open and stuff here that have a bunch of things in them. Just start opening them up on these days and just putting all the shit together and figuring everything out, and then organizing my. I really want to organize my fridge better, and then start putting a bunch of good stuff in there that can be kept as like a rotating, like weekly basis of stuff is what it is. The real problem I have right now is the issue that I'm seeing currently is food prices for fresh produce and stuff like that around here. There's maybe like one time every month or two that I'll see like a head of lettuce go on sale for like under $1 or so. So I think the ones I got the other day were like 88 cents a piece or so, give or take. Maybe 87 cents a piece, something like that. But then the problem is when they're not on sale, they're like $2.50 a fucking head of lettuce or something like that, dude. And it's like, and that's my problem with, people like RFK trying to dictate what people are going to buy on, EBT and stuff like that, because it's like, dude, like, I'm going to buy what I can afford at that point, dog. Like, if I can't afford a fucking single head of lettuce, it's going to make like maybe like 2 to 3 meals for me at that point. Or not even full meals at that point. It'd be like literally a salad with a meal at that point. Like, how am I supposed to afford to eat the rest of the month is what it is. And that's another thing that bothers me too, going back my whole thing right now. It's like, I'm getting $160 a month from the fucking state right now, when it should be at least $200 a month anyway. It's like, dude, that 160 goes out the window in a single trip, literally. And the last two times that I've been over to Walmart now to get some stuff, it don't even cover my full fucking trip, dude. It's like $200 something then. It's like $210, $215 or something like that of stuff that I'm buying. Because it's either the stuff keeps going up a little bit because of the tariffs and shit. Thanks, Trump, you fucking idiot. Or it's some other bullshit where Walmart's just increasing prices again on things, which I know that is the case now. They're doing that with fruit and stuff, which is why I don't buy fruit from them, is what it is. When I can go to a different place and have stuff be like 99 cents a pound or something like that for like a thing of nectarines or plums or pears, whatever it is there. And then you go to Walmart and it's like $1.16 for a single fucking peach. It's insane, dude. Not to mention, I think Walmart's gonna get sued again pretty soon for faulty advertisement of various meats and stuff. I saw the one the other day where people were talking about I think it was some kind of bacon they had gotten from Walmart, which if I had a digital scale, I could do it better now. Because I was trying to do it on my regular scale, but it wouldn't weigh for some reason. There's what it is. Maybe I set it in the wrong setting or something like that. But yeah, if I was able to do the bacon I got there like a week or so ago, I guarantee it ain't no fucking 3 to 4 pounds that I paid for. It's probably like maybe 2.5 pounds at the most. And I don't think it's just them doing that either under the Great Value brand. I think it's also like Sugardale and like a lot like the Smithfield ones and stuff like that around here as well too. Because I had one the other day. It was I think it was like a Sugardale pack or something like that, or an Oscar Mayer pack or something maybe. They claimed it was like 12 ounces, and it was legitimately like 10 thin strips of bacon in it. And it's like there's no way that each one of those is over an ounce, dude. Like you're fucking smoking crack at that point. Like maybe the package with the shit you throw into it is like 12 ounces at that point, but the fucking meat itself is not 12 ounces. So yeah, I definitely see food corporations getting their asses sued into the fucking ground pretty soon in class action lawsuits, and I'm definitely gonna be part of one if that be the case then. So, but anyway, because I've been keeping my receipts as what it is. But yeah, anyway, on that note though, it's about 5 minutes to midnight here on the East Coast, so I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night, and I will see you guys on the next one. Have a good one. Stay safe. Peace out. Always be carrying, because you never know what's gonna happen. And as Leo Red told me the other day, if there's more than 2 YNs in a place, leave.